This episode is brought to you by Premier Inn. Looking for accommodation when you're travelling for work?
We know that whether we're travelling for a job or to watch the game, not all stays are created equal.
For me, it's all about a real comfy bed. You've got to make sure you've got a good night's sleep so you're ready to go the next day.
And that's where Premier Inn comes in. Whether it's their unlimited breakfast or super comfy beds, they have everything you need to get better sleep for your money. And with over 800 locations across the UK and Ireland, there's always one nearby. Book now at premierin.com. Hello and welcome to The Rest is Football with Alan Shearer, Micah Richards and me, Gary Lineker. We all worked together on the FA Cup semi-final yesterday when Palace comfortably beat Aston Villa. We'll come to that in due course, but also, of course, Liverpool, we're doing this on Sunday evening, have just won the Premier League title. Congratulations to them. A second Premier League title, thoroughly deserved. We'll talk to that very shortly. But first, I just want to start with, Alan, you've been watching the London Marathon today and your son, Will.
Oh, yeah.
He completed the course, made it. Is he all right?
He's got about 4 or 5 toenails that have gone, and his feet look horrendous, but he did it. I mean, it's the first time I've been and watched the London Marathon. And I have to say, it's unbelievable. The atmosphere and the coming together of everyone creating this, like, amazing. Yeah, honestly, everyone's just like so happy. And for 26 miles, we went to mile 13 halfway. We then went a couple of miles further along, and then we went to mile 24. But it was just, everyone was just in it was a great place to be and sample. But I got to tell you a quick story about my eldest daughter, Chloe, her boyfriend, ex-rugby guy, used to play for Newcastle Falcons. He's been going out with for a few years now. He went to the Newcastle game yesterday, and he was meant to get on the 5:59 train from Newcastle to London to come and watch and support Will, as we all were down here. So he got to the train station, and he got there 5 minutes early, and then he got on the train. And then 15 minutes on the train, he heard the announcement, "Welcome to everyone who's got on this train to Edinburgh." And he was like, it was non-stop all the way to Edinburgh. So he was meant to... So he's had to go from Newcastle to Edinburgh, and that's the last train. He couldn't get on, so he had to go all the way to Edinburgh. And he looked at different modes of transport, flight, car. He got on the fucking mega bus, the 10 o'clock mega bus, which cost him 30 quid from Edinburgh to London. And he got in at 6:45 this morning into London.
Oh, wow.
So I said to him,
what a
and
doofus.
You are meant to be looking after my fucking daughter in the future.
I mean, it's a good effort to go on the bus despite all that, though, to be fair.
Honestly, I said, really? He said, you stopped at Dunbar, Newcastle, Leeds, Sheffield. It was like, I said, you idiot.
Oh, that's brilliant.
But anyway, Will completed it. He did it in about 4 hours, 4 hours 30, something like that. But and he raised the right few quid for my foundation. So we've had a few beers and we're going to have a few more. So, yeah.
Really when you're watching, Alan, I mean, obviously must be quite... How many times did you actually see Will running?
Well, we saw him on mile 13, and then we were meant to see him on mile 24, and for somehow we missed him, and then we saw him at the end. So it was like... But honestly, guys, it's like
hot
it's
day
so
as well.
refreshing. It was red hot, but the atmosphere amongst, I mean, I haven't got a clue how many people there, but it must have been 10 or 15 deep for 15 or 20 miles that we sort of got through, you know. It was just amazing. It was superb to see everyone in great spirits, and everyone who, all shapes and sizes and ages and everything else, doing the marathon for whatever reason they're doing. So great respect to all. I think there was a record that did it, 57,000 people that did it. It was amazing.
Wow,
it was
many.
Incredible. Yeah.
Well done to all of you that did it.
Yeah,
well done, everyone.
Well done.
Congratulations on that.
Did you have a few Guinnesses out?
I've had a few afterwards, and I'm going for a few after this as well.
Good. We had a couple of glasses of wine last night with Micah after the FA Cup semi-final. We watched the fight. What a fight! Eubank and Ben. I was at the. I was a long time ago. What it was about 1990? Was it when their dads fought? I saw them live at the. I think it was Birmingham NEC when I think Eubank won that one. Then the second one I didn't make it to Old Trafford, but last night's fight, I mean, I don't know about the technicalities of boxing, but boy, oh boy, did they both go for it. And neither of them went knocked over.
Unbelievable.
Extraordinary courage.
Heart, desire. Everything.
Wasn't it? I mean, great respect.
Can we just say, though, after the game, we did the FA Cup, and I didn't have nowhere to watch the fight. The guy says, come to my house. And I was thinking, shall I go? Shall I? But you know what Gaz is? He always looks after you. So he got there and he said, are you hungry? And I'm like, I'm starving, by the way. I don't want to say I'm hungry. I'm hungry and happy with the delivery. He puts a stove on, he starts boiling some water. Next minute, he's made me the most delicious dish ever. I don't even know what it was called. I don't even know. A little bit of spice.
Amatriciano.
Oh my God. We had that. We watched the fight. A couple bottles of vino. The hospitality was sensational. So thank you for that, Gad.
My invite must have got lost in the fucking post, did it?
Well, you're always invited. Well, you doing co-coms. You weren't with us in the studio, were you?
All right, okay. I was with you at the ground.
Yeah, I didn't see you after the game, though.
Yeah, that's right. I got off early.
You scarpered quickly,
I tried to get off early, yeah.
You had a marathon to watch. That's hard work.
That's the one good thing about the co-coms, you know. You can as soon as the final whistle goes, you're off, you're out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, Liverpool.
Wow.
Title win. I mean, they've done it in a canter. We're still in April. And it never really looked in doubt at any stage. And I suppose they won it in style, comprehensively. Spanked Spurs, didn't they?
Yeah, well done, Liverpool. Great football club, brilliant fans. And no one could keep up with them. No one could live with them this season. And the job that Arne Slot has done, along with all his staff and all the players, has been fantastic. And they thoroughly deserve it. They've been the best team by an absolute mile.
I think looking at the season, especially at the start, I thought they would challenge, but I didn't think they'd win it. I think the tactical tweak to sort of get Gravenberch playing in the position a little bit deeper has helped them. I think McAllister's been outstanding. And even just the running power of Szoboszlai in midfield. I think that was one area you looked at the previous season thinking, have they got enough? But for them to dominate the league, and I don't even think they've been scintillating, and I think a lot of Liverpool fans will say that, but they've been efficient in the right moments. Salah's been outstanding, and I think we have to give the club a little bit of credit as to how they have dealt with the whole situation with the contracts, because imagine you've got your 3-star players out of contract at the end of the season. That could have been a disaster. Imagine all 3 actually walked and left, but they sort of did the business behind the scenes. Yes, Trent got a little bit more stick than he should have probably, whether it's a mistake or go, we still don't know that. But to tie down Van Dijk and Salah and then go and win the league, it's just been an outstanding end to the season, and they thoroughly deserve it.
Yeah. Mo Salah, Footballer of the Year?
Yeah, without doubt.
Got to be, isn't it?
Without doubt.
Yeah, he'll get it, without a doubt.
I think he'll get both awards, Football Writers and obviously the Players' Player of the Year as well, I would think. I mean, he's had an absolutely wonderful season and bounced back. He's had a little dip in the last few weeks, but bounced back with a cracking goal in the game against Spurs. But I think Mo, to churn out the performances that he does week in, week out. I mean, he's in his 30s now as well. But he looks as fit and as sharp as he's ever looked. And he's been absolutely magnificent for them, hasn't he?
Superb. I mean, we all know what he wants to do and how he wants to play. But No one's been able to stop him. And that, for me, is the sign of a great player. He's been at a different level again. So, yeah, I agree with you, Gaz and Micah. I think he'll get both awards and really deserves them, I think, no doubt.
I think we need some honourable mentions as well. I think Gakpo this season has been very good, whether he's been rotated up top or out on the left. Diaz of his running power as well. Not quite worked out for Nunes as we expected. I thought it would kick on, but it does bring energy to the side. But I just think all of the team, we talk about collectively the team performance. I think they've had a few outstanding candidates. Van Dijk is just great.
Class
play. Sets the standard every single week. He might have a couple of wobbles throughout the season, but then he gets back to his best. There's a lot of talk about Van Dijk after his knee injury. Will he get back to his best? And he has. He marshals that back line as good as any defender I've seen in the Premier League. Because let's not forget with Van Dijk, he's always had a Matip or a Konate, and he's not really had a consistent partner for years. If you look at the great teams, you always talk about Terry and Cavalier, or if there's a company, the Lescott who always played. You look at the Man United, the Rio and the Stam. Whereas I think, no disrespect to a Konate, it's always been a little level below. So Van Dijk's had to do more of the work in that central position.
Yeah, I think they've blossomed into a really good partnership though, and also they've got Alisson behind, and he definitely one of the best goalkeepers in the world, if not the best.
I don't think even the Liverpool fans expected them to win the league, before the season. Even without signing anyone of significance, they got Chiesa in. There was not many people that would have tipped Liverpool to win the league this season, and for the way they've won it, as comfortable as they have won it. It's not their problem or their fault, or they don't have to say anything about the other teams who have been miles away from it. City have been, by their own high standards, have been awful. Arsenal have been nowhere near it no one's been anywhere near Liverpool. That's not Liverpool's fault. They've just got out and done their job, and they've done it really, really well, impressively. So well done to them.
They've been consistent right across the pitch at both ends. There's not really a weakness in the side. You could say maybe a 9 is the only spot where you could see they could probably improve. But everyone talked in the start. Robertson's had a wonderful career.
He's getting older now.
Yeah, definitely not a weakness, but I know what you mean. But his experience counts for a lot, and he's a brilliant leader, isn't he? You can see that. So I think they all deserve massive credit. I think at the start of the season, everyone was going, well, we're not sure they're not strengthened their midfield. Yeah. But the way he's got them to work in there, and he's rotated at times between some of the players, but perhaps one goes under the radar a little bit as like one of those unsung heroes, if you like. You mentioned him earlier, McAllister. I think. I mean, what a consistent performer he is, and he's got a special goal in him. Like what a hit that was as well against Tottenham today.
The midfield's been one of their been a powerhouse. When you consider that they were in for Zubimendi at the beginning of the season, didn't sign him for whatever reason, but their midfield has been one of their strengths. They've been absolutely brilliant in those positions.
I just want to ask you guys, what from my point of view, and I'll give my opinion first in terms of what slot, because it comes from the manager as well. Yes, these are a lot of Klopp's players, but it looked like they'd sort of run out of steam, and then Slot comes in, and I think the patience in Liverpool's game has helped them throughout the season. I think at times we watch Liverpool now and think, it's not aggressive, it's not explosive, but they're doing it at the right times now, and maybe they've sort of conserved a little bit of that energy throughout the season rather than burning up too early. I don't know what you guys think.
I think it's interesting also, Micah, while we're on that subject, is that they haven't had many injuries either. And I wonder if it's a slightly less dynamic way of playing. It's reduced that. Now, we've seen other clubs that have had a lot of injuries that perhaps play in a slightly different manner. I don't know. They train different. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, certainly one good example. But yeah, he seems. I mean, he's obviously a very good coach. A brilliant bit of recruitment from the club to follow Klopp. We all thought, didn't we, at the start of the season? Crikey, they're massive shoes to fill. And he's come in. He's been calm. He's got great authority. He's obviously a very, very cerebral coach, knows what he's doing. And you have to say, I thought that was going to be a really tough job. I thought it was going to be possibly like Manchester United and Arsenal after they finished with, after Sir Alex finished and Wenger finished, that after that, it was really difficult for the person that came in. And I always thought perhaps it's a better job for the one after. But he's proved us wrong. I mean, he's done brilliantly, really has.
Yeah, he's handled everything with a calmness, hasn't he? He's been... doesn't seem that much throughout the season. And when you think of the highs and lows and everything else that you've got to go through, nothing seems to have flustered him. He's always, majority of the time, been on a level. He's been really assured in everything he's done. And yeah, I agree. I think he's to come in and fill the boots of someone so huge as Klopp, who had such a great career at Liverpool, and he's done it like seamlessly. He's done brilliant.
Yeah. I think that it's amazing, really, that a team is generally, I think, a reflection of the coach or the manager, whatever you want to call it, its personality. And it was so dynamic with Klopp, but Klopp was like a dynamic person. And then there's a calmness to their game now because he's calm. And you see that often. And I always think most people seem to play the way their personality is. It's a bit odd, but...
And without going too far forward, but what do you think's next for Liverpool then? Because we had Man City and had their dominance, the 4 in a row, something that's not been done before. We expected a lot more from them this season. Arsenal have sort of tailed off a little bit, but they're going well in the Champions League. Do we see this Liverpool side now challenging every year for the next 4 or 5 years?
I would think so.
Now, the evidence that we've seen this season?
I would think certainly for the next season or two. What I think will happen, though, is that both Manchester City and Arsenal will put up a better fist of things and probably not have the amount of injuries that both clubs have had this season, and it'll be a lot tighter. I don't think for 1 minute they can win it as easily next season, but who knows? You never know what events might happen. But I don't know about you, Alan.
I'd be amazed if they were to win it as easily as they have this year's next year. I don't see that happening at all. I think there are so many teams that are waiting to improve. Arsenal being one, City being another, Newcastle being another, Villa being another. I just think...
He's got it in there, Micah. He's got it in there.
It's taken me 18 and a half minutes to mention Newcastle, lads. That must be a record.
I know.
But I think Chelsea is another one. There were so many teams that will and have to improve next year that they if they're going to win it next season, it won't be as easy.
What do you think, Micah? I suspect City will get back to somewhere approaching their best. Yeah. I'd be shocked if they had another season like this one, although they've just made it obviously to the FA Cup final. We've just watched that, so congratulations to that. They'll play against Crystal Palace in that one. But in terms of the title, I think it'll be a lot tight. It's got to be, isn't it? I mean, they've won it in a canter this year.
Yes, I think Pep comes back massively next season. I think
Rodri will be back as well. Of course.
That's what I mean. And if the new players would have had another season under their belts, I really think Man City comes strong next season. I think I still think there's things to figure out with Manchester City. Where does Mamouche play? Haaland obviously to come back. Who's going to play on that right hand side? Obviously O'Reilly's coming to the team, done really well. He's more of a midfielder playing left back. They need to sort out the right back position. Núñez has been playing there. He's actually been playing well of late. They need a partnership at the back, centre-half partnership. Is John Stones going to be fit? So there are all these questions that need answering. But I just think the way City fizzling out the league, even the fact that they're still challenging to get into the top 5 for Champions League next season. I just know that won't sit right with Pep, and next season they're going to come out firing. So it should be exciting.
I think it really will be a great season, and hopefully a bit more competitive at both ends of the table. The one thing that's still competitive, of course, is the Champions League spots. Good weekend for Newcastle. I know you've got to go off and meet the family, so we're going to lose you at half time, Alan. But a quick word first on the Champions League spots. They did what they had to do and beat Ipswich.
Yeah, they had to win that yesterday, with Chelsea winning, with Man City winning in the week. It was a result that Newcastle had to get, and they did it. I mean, and one they'd expect, with Ipswich being at St James's Park. So, yeah, it was an important win, sets them up really nicely for next weekend. But it's incredibly tight, isn't it? I mean, it's like that in itself is a great watch in the next 2 or 3 weeks, isn't it? It's like,
thankfully we've got that.
Such a tough one to call, though. I mean, because keep saying is that one team will lose one week and another one, and they think they're favourites, they're out of it, and they'll bounce back. I mean, at the minute, it's looking like Aston Villa, it's really tough for them now, but if they were to win a one game and so on, so it's but massive win, huge win for Newcastle.
One last bit from you, Alan, then we'll let you go, and make sure you get the right train, okay? Make sure you get the right train. Don't leave the rugby player in charge.
Correct.
A word on Palace. The final and the chance to win their first ever major trophy. They were so good, weren't they?
Oh, I mean, we were lucky enough to be there, all three of us yesterday, and got a great view of how brilliant Palace were. I mean, forget about Aston Villa. Just say how great Crystal Palace were. The system. I give Eze man of the match, and I had to give it like 4 or 5 minutes before the end. Any of them. If I could have waited 2 or 3 minutes, then I would have probably given it to Sarr. Having said that, Wharton,
what a play.
Nunez, Richards. Look, I mean, whoever. I mean, even Henderson made 2 great saves at crucial times. Mateta missed a penalty, but oh my God, what about his work rate and his hold-up play and giving those Villa centre-halves a torrid time? So there were so many impressive performances, and I thought Crystal Palace were absolutely outstanding. I thought their fans were superb, the way they sort of backed their team, and it was a brilliant atmosphere. It was, honestly, I really enjoyed the game, and it was great to be there.
I wonder, Alan, if it's going to be the season of, because Newcastle won their first trophy for 70 years. And you just wonder whether Palace will do it as well.
If Palace bring their A game like they did against Villa, against Manchester City. I mean, I think it's in any given year over the past few years, you went Man City going in against Palace. Oh, Man City, you're going to win. Not this year. That is. I promise you, that is a tough one to call, because the way Palace are playing, their forwards, and how special those players are, then they've got a great chance of lifting the FA Cup this year. It's incredible, it really is. I know.
Micah, the way Palace play, is that how Ruben Amorim wants his teams to play, but hasn't got the players that Palace have and the legs in midfield?
That is exactly it. That was a great question, Dan. So it can work, and this is what I've been saying to people. It can work. It's just
if you've got the right players.
It's not got the right personnel. So... and it took Glasner a while to get the balance right. Remember, they had a slow start to the season, and then it was like, what are they trying to do? What are they trying to gain? And we had them afterwards, didn't we? And they gave a really good tactical answer about when they're going to jump, or the positioning, and we mentioned about the work rate. But I think it works, and Alan mentioned it. You have to have a striker who obviously will work hard, but can get your team up the pitch, So the difference with, say, Man United at the moment, when Hoyland's playing there and Xerxes, he works really hard, but he's not got the physical attributes to carry the team up. He can lead the line on his own. And then when you've got Sarr, who's got pace, and when you've got Eze, who's got skill, who can receive the ball in the number 10 positions, but then you've got Mitchell one side, and you've got Munoz the other side, and they know exactly what they need to do. And sometimes they're just decoys. It's about getting the team up the pitch to allow Eze to get on the ball and Salah to get on the ball. And then you see the goal, I think it was the third goal, the way they jumped with Wharton. So they were so high, they knew where the second walls was going to be, and they jumped. And that's something that they've worked on. So in terms of Man United, they can get it right. They just need the right personnel.
Micah, in all 3 goals, the first one was Sarr closing down.
Press, yeah.
The second one, I think, was Wharton closing down.
Yeah.
And the third one was Mateta going off and Nketiah coming on and him closing down and winning the ball in the final third with their pressing, with their attitude, with their system, and then having the flair players to do the business when they're given the opportunity to have a pop at goal.
You know what the difference is, though, just quickly? And Glenn Murray did some analysis on Wharton before the game. And it's basic stuff. But
he's a player, by the way.
Why it works in that system is because Wharton doesn't play sideways, and neither does Kamada as well. Every time they get the ball, they're looking forward, and they don't risk it when they don't need to. But at times, the difference at Man United, too many touches on the ball, and then they don't know where they're running, and then before you know it, the space is gone, the defence has got back in, and then you have to recycle the ball. If you look at Palace too, as soon as in the middle, straight away, and that was the difference. Wharton is top. If we get him playing like that, for keeping him fit, he can be the number 6 for England.
I was just going to ask that. Because he's the player that England have probably been missing, really. Because Rice is more of an 8, and I think, and the one player we've not really had a natural, and he's got that about him, and he's not just a 6 that goes sideways.
I genuinely believe. Yeah. That is exactly what England have been missing for years.
Correct. Absolutely.
I don't suspect he's bothered about you putting pressure on him, by the way. No. He's a top player. He's a really good player.
He's got a real chance. We'll let you go, Alan. When we come back, Micah and myself will discuss some of the other football played this weekend, including, of course, City's win over Nottingham Forest in the semi-final of the FA Cup. But happy travels, Alan.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
Half baked for you, Alan. Half baked. Well done.
Cheers. Thank you. See you, boys. Have a good night. I'm off to have a few more.
Have a good one, mate.
Welcome back to The Rest is Football. Alan's on his way. Just Micah and myself now. And you watched the semi-final, I presume, Micah, Forest City. I have to say, the second half was a really good watch. If Forest had had one of those efforts that hit the woodwork go in, it could have been a nervy ending for your mob.
Yeah, I thought Forest did well, and I don't know because I only got back so I missed all the chat beforehand. But why was Elanga not starting?
I don't know.
He didn't start.
He's left him out a few games, hasn't he, recently?
So I don't know if he had a knock or whatever it may be, but as soon as he came on, he changed the game. He should have scored that one early on.
That would have made it. Hudson-Odoi, great cross as well, wasn't it?
Really good cross. I saw a few of the pieces actually on Hudson-Odoi, and he was talking about him when he was at Chelsea, and then Bayern Munich wanted him, and he put in a sort of request, and then he had his Achilles injury. It was quite actually nice to hear a little backstory about him because he was supposed to be the next thing, wasn't he? And he's really found his home at Forest. I thought he was good today again. But I just thought with Forest in the first half, they didn't believe. It's almost like they was just hoping rather than believing that they was there. And in the second half, they got that belief to say, we can play well against Man City. They're vulnerable on the counter-attack. They bring on Elanga, and then they hit the woodwork. They have the chances. But ultimately, I actually thought City played very well. I thought Kovacic in the centre of the park ran the game. I thought normally he's a bit laboured on the ball, he's a bit slow on the ball, but I think in terms of his touch and his technique and controlling the tempo, I thought he won the game for Man City. He got him on the front foot.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It could obviously have all been different. Morgan Gibbs White. I mean, crikey, 2 efforts. I mean, the first, that volley hit the bar. I mean, what a goal that would have been. Difficult technique that was. And then he obviously went round the keeper, which I think in commentary they said he should have hit it first time. I don't think the angle was on. So I think he was just a shade unlucky. It looked like it was going in, but it's tight angle. But if they did just one of those gone in, it might have made a difference. But I think City, I've seen a gradual improvement. They're still nowhere near their very best that we've seen, certainly in the last few years. But they're definitely a bit stronger defensively in that sense. And there's a little bit more of the high press on occasions. But there's still work to do. And they obviously, I think they need one or two of their big players back, Rodri, Haaland, but that'll be for next season, obviously. Work to do, but he's done it again. I mean, his record, Pep's, I think that's 8 times in 9 years that he's got to the semi-final or better. Obviously won the competition a couple of occasions, but I mean, that's pretty remarkable in a knockout competition.
He's a genius, and I don't want anyone to take away from getting to the FA Cup final. It's a massive achievement.
Of course,
he's
it is.
always taken this competition seriously. He always talks about it. It's a competition that he wants to win, and I've got a great chance. I think this sort of stumble from Pep this season is being it's difficult to watch because I want him to do really well, but I've sort of liked the fact because I want to see how he's going to respond.
I totally agree. I'm the same. I'm looking now. What's he going to do next season? It will be a real testament to him if he can rally them and get them back to where they were before, because it's been a tough campaign.
But he will. I think if you look at his overall, I think sometimes in football we can be very reactional in terms of results and that, we love it. But what he's brought to the English game in terms of the fullbacks inside, putting John Stones from centre-back into midfield, putting right footers on one side, left footers on the other, winning the league, without a recognised striker.
It's not just that, Micah, but if you remember when he first arrived and he started to play the way that he plays, and everybody said, you can't play that way in the Premier League. And he's massively changed football in the Premier League because nearly everybody plays the way that Pep plays now. So not only did he prove people wrong by winning things playing his way, but everybody in the end mimics him. He invents things on the pitch, the inverted fullbacks and stuff. And, people will say, well, we've seen these things before, but no, we haven't, not really.
Especially not in the English game.
Certainly not in the English game very often. So he's been so good for our game. And whatever happens in the future, whatever happens with him, he has made a massive difference to English football, and I don't think it's any coincidence that a lot of English players now are as good as they are, and they would have been influenced by the fact that we've caught up with the rest of the world and even beyond in terms of the way football should be played.
Don't you just think he's so fascinating, though, as a coach? Because there's different types of coaches, and I think Ancelotti needs more sort of credit for his tactical nous, because people will say, oh, well, he just makes everyone feel happy. But I think the timing of his substitution, Ancelotti, amazing.
Yeah.
I think Pep, why he intrigues me so much is because he always wants to change the game, And sometimes it's not worked for him. And sometimes I think, exactly what, and that's the reason why he was doing it. And I'm just excited to see what he's going to bring next. When I'm doing my analysis and all that sort of stuff, and we're doing Match of the Day or whatever, I've got an app called Y Scout. I look at certain tactics that managers are trying to do. And that's why on the whole Amorim thing, why I've not been too critical with Amorim, because I understand what he's trying to do. He's not got the personnel to do what he wants to do. But if you watch his team at Sporting, it was similar to what Palace were doing yesterday
which
in the
is the point we made earlier. Yeah,
and they really knew their jobs. And I'm thinking, okay, well, let him have a transfer window at least, get the players that he wants in, and then you will see. But all these, even Glasner fascinates me massively because he was sort of the underdog, and Austrian coach, or what can he bring? Is he going to be just what the gegenpress way? But no, he's changed it up the way he wants to sort of watching his game yesterday and seeing the little tactical things that he's trying to introduce to make the team better. Because if you look at Palace, and I know I'm rambling on a little bit, but they was always difficult to gauge what they was going to do. But now you know exactly what they can do, but they do it with confidence and they do it with conviction, you know? And I think Pep has started that with coach where they always want to reinvent the wheel somehow. And that's what I think Pep next year is going to do.
Also, I've had one or two people say to me, no, I think he's just perhaps lost his hunger. But anyone who thought that, watch his celebration at the end of the game against Villa in midweek when they won the game in injury time. I've never seen him celebrate like it. You know, if you're that driven like he is, that doesn't go away just because you lose a few games and have a tough season. He'll want it, I think, even more next season, if that's possible. If that's possible to want it even more. So anyway, Man City are going through to the final of the FA Cup. In terms of the Spanish Copa del Rey, that was an interesting game that was played last night. Barcelona ended up winning in extra time. It was fraught with brilliance. The Pedri goal, if you can find it, everyone it's on social media or you'll find it somewhere, with a brilliant bit of build-up play from Lamine Yamal, and then knocked it down. Pedri just buried it, and in fact, it was a cracking game. I mean, and then it all went a little bit tits up for Real Madrid. They lost. I mean, I think they've lost their minds a little bit because they're struggling. I don't know. I think it's degrading a little bit and a little bit embarrassing for the club. We saw the thing with Vinicius Jr. when Rodri won the Ballon d'Or, and it lacked a bit of class. And last night, they just lost their heads completely, and it ended up Rudiger getting a red card. He was throwing ice cubes or something at the referee, and it wasn't really over much.
It's embarrassing. You know, Real Madrid are a top club, and they have values, and you know they're winners. But they can't act like that as a club.
They're better than that. I mean, it's a great football club, and but I mean, everyone has. You have moments, but I think they need to have a little word with themselves at present. And it's hard when you're so used to winning all the time. I think dealing with defeat is not always easy.
I tell you who played well though in that game, Jude Bellingham. I watched all the clips. If you watch like in a condensed format of the game. He played really well. The battle with him and Pedri, there's one where he got in the corner, faked to go one way, went the other way, put his arm over him, and he was really cooking yesterday.
Yeah, he's a great player. He lost his head a bit as well.
But he gets frustrated, doesn't he?
I understand the frustration, but there's, take it too far sometimes. But I mean, it'd be interesting to see. It looks like Ancelotti's going, doesn't it? So be interested to see the point. I think probably Xabi Alonso, do you think?
I've heard him. I've heard Klopp as well.
Klopp as well was mentioned. Yeah, that would be interesting. Well, they both would, to be honest.
The only problem is, Klopp, is he going to be able to get the players to do what he wants in terms of that intense press?
I mean, I'm not sure. Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo, I think the three players that move the least in the whole league in terms of stats. In the Champions League, that I should say. So, how do you get them to buy into that sort of football? And even Xabi Alonso's football is a little bit along the lines of the Glasner and the Amorim way, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
a little bit, not the same, but
just on that, I remember Jolien talking about working with players on the but if you can convince players, so Pep's done it as well, hasn't he? Convince his strikers to just do the first press, and he'll win the ball back high. Maybe they can do it, because Vinicius, in fairness, and them stats are not a true representation, I don't think, because Madrid have the ball the majority of the time.
Exactly, and playing against a low block, so they hardly have to move. Yeah, it can be misleading, yeah.
Correct, but if he could sort of introduce, win the ball back as soon as possible. Imagine Mbappe, Vinicius, or Rodrigo with a high press, high intensity, plus all the other stuff that they've got. They'd be unstoppable. But I think it'd be difficult for them to do what Klopp asks.
But what a season Barcelona had with such a young side and a kind of crazy way of playing at times with the high press of Hansi Flick. But Lamine Yamal just keeps, he's just extraordinary footballer. Pedri's absolutely back to his phenomenal best. They've got Kubasi at the back. I mean, he's a child. Central defenders don't play like that at the back, do they? At that age.
Yeah, he's just, like I said before, I saw him at the Olympics and Thierry told me about him. And I was like, that's the Barcelona kids. And I was just
how do they do it? How do they keep it?
I was thinking to myself, how have they done it again? How have they done it again? La
Masia, that unearths gold time and time again. Let's call it a day there, Micah. Barcelona have won the Copa del Rey. They've got a great chance of winning the league as well, and they're still in the Champions League, so it could even be a treble, but we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. Before we go, it's time for another segment of Raise Your Guinness Glass, brought to you by our friends at Guinness, official beer of the Premier League. As you know, we love it when the beautiful game meets the beautiful pint, so we take some time every month to raise a glass to an incredible Premier League moment. We've got our Guinness poured already. Here it is right in front of me, and there can only really be one special moment to focus on today, and that's Micah, Liverpool winning the Premier League and winning the Premier League for the first time in front of their fans.
Wow, I mean, great occasion. Obviously, I played with Salah at Fiorentina. I was delighted for him. And just that really special moment, because when you win that league, there's all sorts of different emotions going through your body. But to then have, when we won the league at Manchester City, all the fans came onto the pitch, and just that special moment. So for them to have that winning the league in COVID, not having that special bond with the fans, and then to be able to do it this weekend has just been amazing. So I'm delighted for them. They fully deserve it. And I hope they can enjoy it together as a team and a fan base.
It's a totally meritorious victory. And I think the fact that they did miss out on COVID, I mean, that'd be a bit like a damp squib at the end. I mean, it still would mean a lot because you've won the league and in a difficult period as well. And they had challenging City year after year and they kept missing out. And then to do it without fans. But this one will feel really special and they can celebrate it properly. And hopefully can have one or two of these. Well done, Liverpool. Congratulations. Yeah. That's it for April's edition of Raise Your Guinness Glass, brought to you by Guinness, official beer of the Premier League. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. For the facts, visit drinkaware.co.uk. That's it for this episode. Goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me. Have a good week.